Hi, welcome to Minky Wellness. This is our YouTube channel. I'm Dr. Peter Minky. I'm going to be talking today about an exercise that comes out of the Aston patterning model or paradigm. I'm a certified Aston patterning practitioner. And what this exercise is, what I'm going to do, this video is to demonstrate this exercise for your learning. And I'm going to go through it. I'm going to show you the pieces of it, how I do it. It's a seated exercise. And then I'm going to walk through the different pieces and then troubleshoot a little bit. So it should be enough information for you to do this. And I'll explain why you would want to do this a little bit as well. So just technique-wise, this is a seated exercise. Again, I call it push, squeeze, Kegel. And the purpose of the exercise is to gain core tone and length from the ground up. All right, and a lot of times people will get core tone by contracting their core, and what it does is compress and shorten the spine, creating more compression in the low back and various areas of the spine and also along the diaphragm. So we want to avoid those compressive forces. So we want to get good core tone, but we want to do it from below and gain the length of the body. So one of the ways to do this and to activate is to do this push, squeeze, Kegel. So here's how it goes. I'm going to, with my pelvis slightly higher than my knees, so I've got a bed that goes up and down here, a massage table. You might have to play around at home to find a way to do this. Pelvis slightly higher than the knees. I'm going to push my feet into the floor, and I equate this to the same action of trying to scooch the chair backward, but instead of focusing on backward, I'm gonna, that same action of pushing the feet in, but I'm gonna focus on going headward. So there's the push. That's the push part of the push, squeeze, Kegel. The next step is, once I've started to push, while I'm still pushing, I'm going to squeeze my knees together, but don't let them move. Okay, in other words, there's a contraction in there, but it's isometric. There's no movement here. I'm going to keep those knees at this distance apart. You don't want to hold this for very long. You'll get fatigued pretty quick. So I'm going to relax again and start again. Push, squeeze. And now the Kegel. We know what the Kegel is. Kegel is that exercise where we stop our pee, or like if we were urinating, we stop in the middle of the flow. And so there's a contraction. But with this support from below, this contraction becomes an up and in contraction rather than a down and out contraction. If I were just sitting here trying to stop my pee, it would be a abdominal contraction down and out, which is not the direction we want to go. So again, this push squeeze creates a floor, or the bowl here of the pelvic floor, to allow the Kegel to be contracted up and in, which is where we want it. What you might notice as you're doing this exercise, I'm going to go through this again, but what you might notice, I'll get into nuances, is that one side of your Kegel, one side left or right, is stronger or weaker depending. I've had an abdominal surgery here, appendix surgery, so when I go into the Kegel, I actually don't feel the right side contract. So you can start to get information about what's happening down here in terms of your core support. So again, I'm going to walk through this exercise, and what I want to point out is that my pelvis, I start out with this exercise in a fairly neutral position. This might not be the case for most people. So most people, if you watch my pelvis, are slumping down here, right? So here would be, if I try to do this exercise from here, I'm not going to get the same result. So it is important for me to try to get my pelvis rotated slightly forward and on top of the femur heads. So that gives me the support I need from below. We'll talk more and more about that in different videos, but basically something to watch out for is the pelvis really should be a little bit more on top. So the other thing is, I'm bringing my heels back just a little bit. So I don't want my feet out here trying to push. I'm going to slide out, and I'm not going to get that upward direction. So I really want to bring my heels back just a little. These are just a couple troubleshooting things that I find. If you go to push down and it hurts your knees, go higher. In other words, you want your pelvis. I can push a button and go up, but you would have to rearrange things. But I want to go at a higher angle so that when I push, I'm not getting those shear across my knee. So if you've got a bad knee or something like this, any of these exercises that I do, that you're working with an instruction from these instructions, if something hurts, stop. There's something going on. You need to adjust and make some changes. But I would just go higher up if you're starting to feel that hurt the knee. I'm going to go back down to where I like it here. And so again, it's push, squeeze, Kegel. I'm going to keep my pelvis up and forward, my shoulders relaxed, push the ground away. While I'm pushing the ground away, squeeze the knees together. While I'm doing that, I now engage in the Kegel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And that's it. That's all it is. Push, squeeze, Kegel. I like to do this for many people. When they go to stand up, they're not getting that core engagement. So I'm going to encourage one more step here in this little video in learning this, is to take this into standing. So it goes like this: push, squeeze, Kegel. While I'm holding all those, the Kegel and everything, I'm going to go ahead and hinge forward to be on top of my feet and push to stand up. So then once I'm up, I can let go of the Kegel, let go of all this. And what this does is place my chest and in proper relationship with my pelvis, and then the weight of my body is held by the quad muscles and the deep core muscles, which is where I want them. Sitting back down, I would go back into a hip hinge, bend the knee, sit, and I'd be in a neutral position here. So again, very difficult to do this from a pelvis that's sitting back here, I can't get on top of myself. I won't be able to get any leverage from my feet, so I'm going to have to do something that's involved in the shoulders and that thing. So very important to have the pelvis to get a little bit of that curve in the back. If you cannot get the curve in the back, or if you're trying to force it with contracting the back muscles, then you probably need a little bit more body work, a little bit more loosening, stretching, whatever you're going to do to loosen up this area in order to get good posture. So not necessarily something that you can force. If you're in a situation where you have limited movement, work through with some help, getting body work to help with some more movement. Okay? So that's the basics. Now, why would you want to do this? Again, to get core tone. If you get up and your knees fall together and you get up like this, okay, that's a sign that you don't have core tone. This would be a good exercise for you to do. Push, squeeze, Kegel, hinge, push up, and having enough tone and stability to do that without the knees collapsing into the core and ending up standing like this. So that would be one indication of when someone would really need to do this exercise. But again, everyone needs to walk and move with good core tone, so this is just a way to get that and get it and take it into standing. So I hope this has been useful. Watch back for some others, and this is Minky Wellness. Thanks for watching.